I'm back. This is part two of I guess the lesson will be titled "I Can Do It Better." And picking up where I left off, this is Genesis 19 and 35, and they made their father drink wine that night also, and the daughter arose and lay with him, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father, and Slakia. And how would he know? Because if you read it up in Genesis, this 19th chapter, it says they had which he said they had in lie with men, but they were I think they were betrothed. So I mean, hey, how would he know that he's the father of them? Which is a wicked. This is a wicked thing. This is also a going into that mindset that was in Genesis the 6th chapter. Evil continually. They don't even know what they're doing. They don't even think this is evil. They just trying to preserve their father's seed. That's it. And the firstborn bare a son and called his name Moab. And the same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. So Moab, let's look at that word. Oops. This is H4124. Mawab. Mawaab. Says of his father. Okay. And the younger, she also bare a son and called his name Ben Ami. And this is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. It says H1151 Bana Amaya, son of my people. But yeah, hey, this is what happened. So going now to the next point that she was making, and I'm not gonna play the video again. I think I watched that video maybe like 4 or 5 times, and one time was more than enough. So if you want to watch it again, go back to the first video. And the last point that she was kind of making was about Jephthah. It says Judges 11 and 30, and Jephthah vowed a vow unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and said, if thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon shall surely be Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So this is the vow that Jephthah made to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. So I'm going to get this real quick and I'm going to come back. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and verse 4. When thou vowest a vow unto the Most High, defer not to pay it, for ye have no pleasure in fools. Pay what thou hast vowed. So if you make a vow, especially if you're a man, and I'm going to get into the law about it, because there are technicalities that hey, you better pay up, whatever it is. Now again, going back, Judges 11 and verse 32. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai delivered them into his hands. So you made a vow, if you Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to deliver the Ammonites into my hands, hey, whatever walks through that door, I'm gonna offer it up to you. And he smote them from Aurora even till thou come to Meneph, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter. So he made that vow. And his daughter was so happy to meet him. Glad. Came out singing and dancing with timbrels, everything. And it came to pass when he saw her that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto Yahweh Shemi Shai, and I cannot go back. So hey, he realized what he did. As she said, hey, that was a dumb thing to do, and she said in that video. But hey, that's why hey, careful what you vowing. When you offer a vow, hey, you can't renege on it. You can't go back on it. And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto Yahweh Shemi Shai, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth. For as much as Yahweh hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows. So she said, hey, whatever if thou hast opened thy mouth unto Yahweh Shemi Shai, do to me according to that which have proceeded out of thy mouth. So whatever you vowed to the Lord, whatever you promised the Lord, hey, do it. And this young girl had more wisdom than the girl in this video, showing how far we have fallen. This is the people in general. Keeping your word, even if it comes to my hurt. And this thing became a holiday, which I'll go down and get that. Verse 38, and he said, Go, and he sent her away for 2 months, and she went with her companions and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow, which he had vowed, and she knew no man. And it was custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. So this became a custom where they would mourn, Jephthah's daughter. This is Numbers chapter 30 and verse 1. It says, Law of vows. And Moses spake unto the heads of the 10 tribes. Slack it. There's a slip of the tongue. And Moses spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahweh hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto Yahweh, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. So this is the law. If you make a vow to Yahweh Shemi Shai, you got to do it. He shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. You got to keep to it. You made a vow, you cannot break it. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow and her bond wherewith she have bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand. So if the young woman is in her father's house and her father hear it and he's okay with it, it's going to stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she have bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. So this is the father having the power over the daughter. So that's and it goes on, but that's good, because you might hear that and it's like, man, that's fucking stupid. No, like no. Because like I said, like I said in the beginning, in the first video, the Most High had the pride for her wisdom, meaning she ain't got no wisdom, so she might say something stupid. Like, this girl ain't got no father in her life because of how she's talking. So I mean, in the first video, but if you hearing somebody like that, you hearing your daughter say something like, "No, you can't do that. No, 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 I'm not allowing that." And the Most High will have mercy; He'll forgive her because the father disallowed it. But of a man, it's harsher for him. You got to keep your word. Verse 30 and 6, or Numbers 30 and verse 6. And if she had at all an husband when she vowed or uttered aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallowed her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and Yahweh shall forgive her. So that's the importance of having a father, a husband, because they can no, we're not doing that. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by bounding an oath, but going back to this point, but every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their soul, shall stand against her. So if you divorce or a widow, if you make a vow, that's going to stand against you because you don't have a head. You don't have a husband, nothing like that. It's going to stand against you. You gotta be like the man. You better man up. It's like it. But I'm about to close out. This is now she mentioned also Amalek. That these people are innocent, and once again bring that up. Whoever perished being innocent. But it says Deuteronomy 25 and verse 15 or 17, Salakia. But going into what Amalek did to us when we came out of Egypt, to our forefathers, it says, "Remember that what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when you were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou was very faint, or when thou was faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai." So what did they do? They came out to meet us. We can't pass through their land. And then what did they do? They went up behind and started killing off those that were in the back, the weak, the feeble. And they do this still to this day. They separate the families. Even the pager thing. I saw a video. Hey, that was children. They said, "Oh, we got mostly terrorists and all this stuff." That was children. That was weak. Look at what they're doing in the earth now. But hey, remember, these are weak people. They didn't meet them head on. They went after the weak, the feeble. Verse 19, "Therefore it shall be," and this is to the apple of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's eyes. Yes, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's eyes, the Israelites. You did this to the Most High's people after he just brought them out of Egypt. Parted the sea for them. Sent plagues on his enemies. And you're just going to run up behind and pick a few off. "Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh thy power have given thee the rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, that thou shalt not forget it." So we were supposed to wipe them out. And what Saul did by not wiping them out, that was breaking the commandments. You're supposed to get rid of all of them. I had this pulled up, but This is I'll read this. This is Exodus chapter 17 and verse 14. And Yahweh said unto Moses, write it for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, which is Yahushai, for I will utterly put out of the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nissi, for he said, because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So Yahweh is always going to be hating Amalek. He's always going to be at war with them. And let me get this. It's really, I can close it out, but let me see here. Let me see. This is 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites, which he was supposed to wipe them all out. Matter of fact, let me see here. Here, I'll start at verse 2. Well, actually, I'm going to start at. Yeah, I'll start at verse 2. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. So this is constantly coming up. Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushua is going to have war with them. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. Everything, you gotta go. Nothing of them, it all got to go. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 footmen of Judah. And Saul came to the city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And we're jumping down. Verse 7, and Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. Which you were supposed to kill them all. That includes the king. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly. So they didn't kill the king. They kept all the best stuff for themselves, which you're supposed to get rid of all of it. You're supposed to kill everything. Reminds me that what was that from Leon the Professional? What was that Gary Oldman's character when he's like everything? Anyway, then came the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me, and have not performed my commandments. So you breaking the Lord's commandments. That was a direct commandment. Kill them all. Leave nothing. That's everything. The men, the women, the children, the goats, the cattle, everything. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto Yahweh by Shem Yahushai all night. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of Yahweh. I have performed the commandment of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, or I have performed the commandment of Yahweh. So here is Saul saying, Hey, blessed be Yahweh. I did his commandment. When you didn't, you left him alive. You kept the best stuff alive. You kept the king alive. You supposed to. I ain't gonna keep saying it. And Samuel said, "What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear?" So he's saying, okay, then what's it? Is that so? What's up with the? Why do I hear sheep? Why do I hear cows mooing? And Saul said, "They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto Yahweh thy power, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. So we kept the best stuff, but we destroyed the worst of it." Then Samuel said unto Saul, "Stay, I will tell thee what Yahweh hath said to me this night." And he said unto him, "Say on." And Samuel said, "When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And Yahweh anointed thee king over Israel. And Yahweh sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore did thou this? Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of Yahweh, but didst fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of Yahweh? So why didn't you obey the voice of the Lord? He told you to destroy everything, but you took the spoil. You took all that stuff for yourself. You took the best for yourself." And Saul said unto Samuel, "Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and have gone the way which Yahweh sent me." And he's trying to, what he's talking back, knowing he didn't. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, "Yea, I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh, and have gone the way which Yahweh sent me, and I have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites." So he's a, but the people took the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto Yahweh thy power in Gilgal. So he said, "I left the king alive, but the people, they took the sheep and all this stuff to sacrifice unto Yahweh," which, hey, that's not what Yahweh Bashem Yahushua required. And Samuel said, "Hath Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh?" So does the Most High, does he just like burnt sacrifices? He likes sacrifices. He just likes this stuff. He don't care. He just likes that smell. No, he prefers that you obey his voice. Like in these days, hey, keep the commandments to the best of your ability, but hearing his son, having faith in his son Yahushua, believing in his name Yahushua, believing in the name Yahweh, believing what's written in the scriptures. This is what's pleasing to the Lord. Believe in the truth. This is what's pleasing to the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Not what you want to do. Gentiles can make it. This nonsense. This nonsense that this chick, been saying in that last 2-minute video that I'm now making an hour and plus video over. That's not pleasing to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And Samuel had said, "Hath Yahweh as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." So to obey, to be obedient, it's better than sacrifice. To listen, to have ears to hear, to listen to the word that's going out. That's better than the fat of rams. Verse 23, "For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of Yahweh, he have also rejected thee from being king." So that's the point right here. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. You see that woman in the first video. She's rebellious. These Babylonians are rebellious. 2/3 of our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, rebellious. And that's likened unto witchcraft. And guess what? There ain't no repentance from witchcraft. There ain't no sacrifice that you can do for witchcraft. Hey, that's a sin unto death. Matter of fact, let me see that. This is H7081 Quasam. Says a lot. Also divination, oracle, the divine, witchcraft. Let's see, false prophets. Let's see here. Deuteronomy 18 and verse 10. You know what? Deuteronomy 18 and verse 9. When thou art come into the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. Because it's a land of Canaan. They were doing all kinds of wickedness and witchcraft and all this kind of stuff. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that useth divination through that fire, sacrificing your children to Molech, to Baal. And, hey, they doing that all today. Whether it be through the show business, through the abortion clinics, all that stuff, you sacrificing your children, or that use of divination, or observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. And you see all that going on today, especially amongst the women of our people. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And because of these abominations, Yahweh thy power doth drive them out from before thee. So you're not to do after any of these nations. Let me see here. I know there was one. Exodus 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So yeah, shop. Let me see what that. It's lucky. I'm just about done, but this is just. But that's really it. I was looking for the judgment for this, but they'll say that for another time. The point's been made. A rebellion is that's a sin of witchcraft, and thou shalt not suffer the witch to live. That was the point of that. But a Lord willing, this has been edifying. Hopefully I touched on every point that she made in that video. And Lord willing, I ain't ramble on too long. I know this is about the longest video I've done in a while. But and like I said, Lord willing was edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, shalom.